when you did civil engineering, did you at any time regret your decision?
Because it was like, well, just sell your car to pay for it.
Oh.
It was just like the worst system I ever seen in my life. It also had a lab attached that was mandatory to go to.
Every single class?
Pretty much.
Is there something that you feel like, maybe I shouldn't have gone into comp science? Was being a TA always like something that came to you naturally, or was it something that you're like, a prof is asking me, might as well just do it? Hi guys, welcome to our channel here. It's K2B Karen. Today you have me, Karen, and today we have a very special guest, Tony. I've met him, I feel like a few years ago, and ever since then we've kind of been like chit-chatting for quite some time, every now and then. Really happy to have him here in our podcast today. From what I know, he started off as a civil engineer, and then he kind of moved his way into computer science, and he recently graduated from his undergrad degree, and he's now going into grad school. So thank you, Tony, for being here in our podcast. I know it's early morning on a Sunday, so it's painful, but thank you. And before we begin, I'm going to be comfy, so I put my feet up. And before I say anything else, I'm just going to say, as a token of appreciation, we're giving you 2 gift cards, which is literally just here. And they're from 2 bookstores. One's from Westgate and one's from Brighton Books. So Westgate is located on Louise Avenue, towards the end of Cumberland. They sell used books and usually half of the retail price. They started off, I think, in the 1970s, and then they keep switching ownerships. The current owners are Nikki and Luke. Very nice, warm people. We love them. And Luke was very kind to kind of give us gift cards for the guests. So feel free to visit them. They're a very nice, warm kind of store because it's quite like cute, small, and very cozy. So feel free to give it a shot whenever you get some time. And then we have Brighton Books, which is on the 20th Street West. And they're quite huge as well. They do different genres. They do like historical fictions, thrillers, romance, indigenous studies, whatever, you know. And they also sell used books at half the retail price, so highly recommend. So I recommend Tony and the audience to give them a shot. And now that I'm done yapping, tell us, how's your day?
Good, uneventful so far.
Tell me, out of 1 to 10, how content do you feel with life right now, with where you're currently at?
Ooh, it's about an 8.
An 8. Why not a 10?
Still things to do.
Okay, fair. And then if you had to describe yourself to somebody, how would you describe yourself? Like, what are you currently doing, or where you're currently at in life? How are things for you?
Describe myself. It's my least favorite thing. Yeah,
what are you
it's my
currently
kryptonite.
doing? Tell me, what are you currently doing?
Currently, I do research in the HCI lab in the computer science department. So I'm investigating the way of displaying uncertainty in isoline ensembles. A lot of big words. Basically, we have a lot of lines on one visualization. How do we take a bunch of complex chaos and make it so that we can give it to somebody that knows nothing about math, statistics, or anything? And they can look at it and just go, oh, I understand. That's basically what I'm working on right now.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
So we'll start, we're gonna like tweak a little bit and shift gears.
Sure.
And we're gonna start from the beginning of your journey. So tell me, how did you get into civil engineering?
Finished high school.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I wanted to do. I know what I didn't want to do, and that was to work at Walmart for 1 second longer. So I quit that job. Ended up working on a service rig in my hometown for a few weeks. That paid well, but the job sucked. The people were just colorful. It's the politest way I can put that. Yeah, I worked there for a few weeks and made a lot of money. Didn't like the work, didn't like the hours. And then a buddy of mine was going into construction. So I went and applied there and was a carpenter for 4 years. And then finished up my last round of schooling for carpentry. So when you do a trade, you go work for 10 months, and then you go to school for 2 months, and then you work for 10 months, and go to school for 2 months. And you do that for 4 years, and then that's it. So I did my 4th year. It must have been like January 2010.
Oh.
Yeah, and then was waiting to hear back, and during the summer, I was drinking with a buddy, and he was coming back to engineering after taking the Christmas bailout.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, you should come too. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
had the grades, you had the smarts, you might as well. So I drunkenly applied and forgot all about it. And then a few weeks later, I got accepted, and was like, oh crap, I guess,
In this university.
yeah, I guess I got to go to university now. So yeah, I actually started engineering, and that first month in September 2010 was when I got my journeyman certificate.
Mm-hmm. And then that's when you started your journey with civil engineering.
Yep.
And then, so I suppose, tell me that. So, like, right now, I know in engineering, you have like a 1 year where you take all the same classes.
Hmm.
And then in your second year, you kind of, I suppose, choose the discipline you want to go into. Like,
Yeah, at the end of your first year.
and that
So
was the same for you.
yep.
Okay.
The first year was wildly different. They did the whole re-engineered thing where they drastically changed the first year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, from what I've heard, is like now it's a lot harder. Like, it's just a lot more stressful because there's a ton of shorter classes, and it's very much like, if you passed, you're fine, but if you failed, you got to come back the next year and take this awkward, like, third of a semester course or something.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you look into it, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then at that time, did they also have like internship programs for civil engineers or just engineers in general?
Yeah, they had an entrepreneurship option. They had it wasn't called an internship. It was called a co-op program, I
Mm-hmm,
believe.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, but 6 of 1, right? Like,
mm-hmm.
you go work and get some practical experience.
And did you choose to do that, or you were like, maybe not for
I did
now?
not.
Okay. Did
Yeah.
you ever regret it then?
Yes.
Hmm.
100%.
Hmm.
Because everybody gets out of university with a degree. Very few people get out of university with a degree and practical experience in their field.
But then you had your carpentry for 4 years, though.
That's great, but like, swinging a hammer and designing a beam are two wildly different skills. So even
Hmm.
though I could install the beams that
Hmm.
were designed, being able to show that you have the cognitive abilities to design it is a completely different can of worms.
So then you did your civil engineering for 4 years, I suppose, or longer.
Like, my degree?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it
Four
took me
years.
4 years, which I don't recommend.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was absolute hell.
Yeah, because I was about to say, I feel like in a particular semester, you have to take what, 6 classes or
Yeah,
more?
usually, so for the rest of the university, taking 5 classes is the norm,
Mm.
but you can get permission from the department to take 6. If I remember correctly, engineering, the norm is 6 classes a term, but you can get permission to take 7. And in engineering, everything has, um, there's not just the theoretical component, but there's also the practical component. So every one of your courses also had a lab attached that was mandatory to go to.
Every single class?
Pretty much. Like, I think there was one
Dude.
or two that didn't. It was like ethics and statistics were the only ones that didn't.
Oh man, that's
Yeah,
insane.
it was a lot of work, but it was like, the labs were always, I thought they were pretty cool. Like, you made concrete beams and then you broke them, and then, like, you went into the structures lab and you had little pieces of steel of like different iron to carbon ratios,
Hmm.
and then you would like rip them apart or twist them, and then you would like take a look at how they broke, and then
Hmm.
yeah.
The most interesting thing I feel is like you've done civil engineering way long time, like long time back, and you
Mm,
still remember all these things, which tells me that you really liked civil engineering.
it was really cool. Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you have like a favorite class at that time then? I don't know if you remember though, so that might be putting you in a tough spot there. I don't know.
I'd say masonry was the one that surprised me the most.
What's masonry?
So, like, masonry design. So like, if you're building a building,
Hmm.
depending on the materials you use, there's different kind of considerations for the physical properties of that material.
Mm.
So masonry design specifically looked at how to build brick buildings, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
like, all the buildings on campus, the engineering building, the admin building, like
Mm-hmm.
those old big stone ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Masonry is more less, now it's done with uniform units, right? So you can do masonry with just like stones,
Mm-hmm.
like ye olden bridges in England and stuff. But it's more conventionally done with, like, cinder blocks or clay bricks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when you did civil engineering, did you at any time regret your decision?
To do civil engineering, I don't think I ever regretted when I was in it, because it was
Mm.
always like something fascinating to be learned.
So you enjoyed it basically.
Oh yeah, it was really cool. Like, it
So we
was.
should be thanking that friend who got you into this in the first place. He made your life, in a
Yep,
sense.
yep.
Where did you first land up after your civil engineering degree?
I actually went back to work for the construction company that I worked for, as an engineer in training.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so the engineer that was working on that was their in-house structural engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, He actually went to the University of Saskatchewan as well. His
Mm-hmm.
picture's up on the wall, a
Yeah.
few posters down from mine.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, he was working for the construction company, and then sort of took a step back to go work on a different opportunity. But he still did all the engineering work for this company. So they took me on as sort of like a engineer in training position to sort of help fill the gap and then get some
Mm-hmm.
good experience and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was fun. It was actually doing design work, right? So you'd have all these building plans for the structure itself, and you knew where
Mm-hmm.
it was going to be built.
Mm-hmm.
So then you would sort of work backwards, right? How big is the roof? How much snow is going to be carried on? What are the beams supporting it? What are the loads on all those beams? And then we would design the foundations, right?
Mm-hmm.
So building is a building. It comes as an entire package. You get all the pieces, and then you would just assemble it. But depending on where you're building it, you need to design the foundation to be proper for that structure, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're building a house in Florida, you don't really
Mm-hmm.
need to worry about snow loads. Whereas if
Mm-hmm.
you're building a house in, Saskatchewan, you don't really need to worry about hurricane winds or earthquakes.
Suppose then, after you did your civil engineering and worked back for the construction company, you had more knowledge for your, I suppose, your materials of the building and things like that. And then before your civil engineering degree, like my question here is kind of like, how different were things, I suppose, then before your civil engineering degree and after? Because I think after you had a better sense of materials of the building. That's kind of what I get.
So when you do construction in Canada, at least,
Mm.
it's not regulated. So anybody can pick up a hammer and call themselves a carpenter.
Really?
Yeah, you can't do that with all trades, specifically like pipe fitters, boilermakers,
Oh.
electricians. Electrician's a big one. You don't want to mess with electricity. There's
Mm.
no leniency there.
Yeah.
But carpentry's pretty forgiving. And they have the National Building Code. It's a big, huge book, and it tells you how to build everything. And there's a section of it, part 9 of the building code, if I remember correctly, which is just for carpenters, where it's like, if you
Mm.
want to build a house, here's all like the rules of thumb that you need to follow. Um, so like, if you're trying to build a roof and you need to clear this much distance, well, then you need to use this kind of truss. And if you need to build something bigger, well, then you need to use this big truss. And if you
Mm.
go any further, then it says like, well, this is outside the scope, and there's a lot
Mm.
of other things you got to consider than just how big beam got to be. So you need an engineer to design it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was about to get
Yeah.
into that. Like what's the difference in your mindset after that civil engineering degree? But I guess you kind of
Yeah,
answered
so
that.
like carpenters, they understand the basic principles involved, but
Mm.
the engineering just takes it a lot deeper and like investigates the quantifiable, measurable properties, right?
Hmm. And then how many years did you work in that construction company?
Oh, not very long. I think I did maybe a few months.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
And then did you like switch to another job, or is that when you got into computer science?
So, long story short,
Hmm.
after getting my degree in 2014, I spent 6 years working at 11 different jobs
Oh, I think you told me this.
in
Yeah.
one, two, three, four different cities.
In the same province?
Nope, 3 different
Okay.
provinces.
Oh,
Yep.
dude, you traveled the whole country.
The western part of it, anyway. Yep.
Then what changed though? Like, what was the life-changing part where you were like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I need to get into computer science?
Most of my jobs ended up being like there were a few great companies that I worked for. One in Calgary was phenomenal to work for. One in Manitoba was the worst job I ever had, ran by a sociopath POS. But the company he spawned by being so terrible of a manager,
Mm-hmm.
they were remarkable to work with.
Mm.
And they were structural design and analysis, but most of my work was project management.
Mm.
And being a carpenter, you're on site doing things, and being an engineer, like doing structural design and analysis, you're in the lab crunching numbers. And project management is you sit in the middle and you watch these guys in the field do the work, and you get these guys as numbers, but you don't get to do either of
Because
them.
you're managing things.
You're just watching other people do things, and it was
Mm.
just soul crushing to me. I
Hmm.
hated it,
Hmm.
despised it.
So it's not the industry, it's the role that you didn't like.
Yeah, like I'd go back to carpentry, I'd go back to engineering, but I would not go back to project management. I'd have to be promised like a king's ransom for me to even consider that, because it was just the worst jobs I've ever had, sitting there watching everybody else have the fun.
So then tell me this. So like all the people, like young people who are working on civil engineering, like their degrees, do you kind of recommend them to do a master's then if they want to get into structural engineering?
If they want to do structural engineering, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not to say that project management isn't a necessary role to have in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Pays well. It's good hours. You get to travel a little bit. You get to meet a lot of people. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of phone calls and scheduling, but it's not a lot of like hands-on practical contributions.
Do you kind of feel like that role itself is maybe not as much of a necessity then? Because
You,
people could manage themselves. Like, what do you feel? What's your take on that?
to an extent, right? Like, you need to have one person that kind of has the bigger picture in mind and can organize everything else, because it's really difficult to sort of focus on the task at hand while planning for the next task, right? So if you have teams of 20, 30 people on a project, it's better to
Mm-hmm.
have one person delegated to sort of planning ahead the next day's work. So you can work today and they'll get the materials for tomorrow, so that in tomorrow you can just come in and do the work. You don't have to waste the day trying to get materials or interrupt your workflow today trying to get materials for tomorrow, organizing and getting
That's
all
so
that.
fair.
Yeah.
So then, as a civil engineer, like what kind of career roles can you have? So I get you can do structural engineering, you can do project management, but
Mm-hmm.
apart from these, like what else could you do?
Anything that has to do like, well, just for civil engineering, a lot of cities have multiple engineers. So they'll have like a transportation engineer, they'll have a municipal engineer,
Hmm.
there's somebody that makes sure that the water treatment plant is operating properly, there's the sewage treatment plant, somebody that approves new subdivisions for
Mm-hmm.
cities, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what monkey they have for Saskatoon, but I feel like they should be fired, reprimanded, or at least have some formal training, because I've never seen such bad intersections designed in all my life. But
Oh, which one?
all of them,
All of them?
oh man, left turn lanes should be aligned, because then the drivers in other lanes can see past the other turning
Oh, okay.
lane at traffic coming.
I think I've heard that. Yeah, because they're trying to open up this this class. I think for engineers, it's kind of like people who are trying to do an interdisciplinary engineering degree or something.
Okay.
They have this course, and they've I don't know if I can say this, but it's a new course that they're opening up this September, and it's kind of like they've opened this comp sci class too. It's 406 or 407.
Right, right. It's an interdisciplinary. So in engineering, you have your capstone design project,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, engineering 495, I think it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, and basically it's like you have a big real world project and you
Mm-hmm.
work on a team of people, and then they brought out, I think it was in my last year was the first time they brought it out, where they had a
Oh,
general engineering,
okay.
where it was less obviously one discipline or
Hmm.
another one. It was like multiple disciplines. So you'd have a team of multiple engineer students that would all work together.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I heard they were doing that for like honor students and engineering students. So there would be like a large computer science component, and then,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
interdisciplinary collaboration.
there was a group who mentioned about the intersections, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that was like a huge problem. Because
Mm-hmm.
I suppose I think I've seen one intersection where I've understood that problem, but I didn't
Mm.
notice this was like an every intersection issue thing. But I suppose to fix that, that'd be like I don't know how would you fix that. I guess that's a civil engineering thing to do, but
Design the roads better. You
I
just
guess,
just
but you can't
align
like
things.
deconstruct everything, that'd be
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like imagine like even right now during summer there's so much construction and people
Mm-hmm.
get frustrated. I
Yeah.
don't know if you've seen downtown. I didn't know up until like when I was going to pick up these gift cards from for Brighton Books, and I went to downtown and I saw the bus terminal and I was like,
Oh yeah.
oh,
Chaos.
I don't feel really good about this, because the buses they seem like they're all kind of like in two opposite lanes, and I get confused. So I'm
Mm,
like, I don't really know what's going on. So I hope this gets fixed before September.
mm.
I remember last year too, like on College Drive, the lanes they were insane, and they didn't fix it up until maybe like October, give or take. I don't know.
Yeah, road construction takes a lot of time, especially
Yeah.
depending on what they're doing. What I don't get is, why do we put the utilities under the road? Because then anytime you got to access the utilities, you got to rip up the whole road. Anyway,
But where else would you put it?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
Back alleys,
Hmm.
nice big boulevard
Hmm.
or green
Yeah.
space.
Putting things in College Drive to me is very interesting.
Mm,
Maybe it was just a design issue that they cannot like reverse now. So I don't know. But
yeah.
anyways, okay, we're getting sidetracked. Tell us, how did you get into computer science?
I was always interested in computers. When I was a kid, yeah, just seeing like video games and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
because it was just like anything you wanted to do, you could do it. It would just be coming up with a way to make it work, right? So computers were just like this endlessly fascinating thing to me, because it was, we take electricity and somehow make everything, cat videos, finite element analysis models, everything. So when I was a kid, that's originally what I wanted to do, to the point where I was looking at schools in like Florida and Vancouver and stuff. But then I had a relative ask me what I was going to do once I was done, and I didn't have an answer, so it made me kind of second guess everything.
True, fair.
Yeah. So that's how I ended up going into like construction and stuff, and then yeah.
Then I kind of want to reverse a little bit here. So then after your high school, did you never consider to go straight into civil engineering or straight into computer science? Or did you just go into carpentry because you were kind of going with the flow of life?
You kind of just go into the flow of life, because like
Okay.
I knew I was going to have to find a way to pay for all of it, right? And
Oh,
like
okay.
loans will only take you so far. And
Yeah.
back in that time, like the loans have been restructured pretty significantly and much for the better.
Mm,
Because back in the day when I applied for loans for my first year,
mm-hmm.
um, filled out all the forms, and the way that everything was phrased was like the government expected you to liquidate your entire life to pay for your education.
Hmm.
Yeah, so like I had a car. It wasn't a great car, but um, it asked if you had a vehicle, and then it was like the estimated value of the vehicle, and then that amount of the vehicle was like deducted from how much you could get for loans and stuff, because it was like, well, just sell your car to pay for it. It was just like
Oh.
the worst system I ever seen in my life, to the point where like I never applied for loans again, because the system was so fundamentally flawed and
Hmm.
backwards, right?
Hmm. And then now obviously they've kind of fixed it and
Yeah, now you just
okay.
go and like 4 buttons and 3 questions later, and
Sweet.
then
Yeah.
yeah, much
Nice.
better.
Okay. So then when you went for your second first year, did you get student loans again or you were like you can't do it anymore, I suppose? Or
Oh yeah,
could you? You could?
yeah. You can
Okay.
apply for student loans anytime. It's just
Okay.
whether or not you're a student.
Hmm. And then, so when you started doing computer science,
Mm-hmm.
you've done your 4 years. I've seen you doing like 2/4 of your years because obviously I didn't meet you on your first year.
No,
So,
COVID.
um,
Nobody met me on my first year.
um, well, you probably knew Kamal.
No,
You didn't?
my first year was all online.
Oh, COVID.
Yeah, so the people I knew were the people in the chat room. So you met the prof, and that was about it.
Oh, wait. Okay, were you the group of people who took 332 when it was online or no?
No, I did that in
Okay.
person. Yeah.
Okay. Then when you first started your computer science degree, everything was online. Did you at any point feel like this is too much to do or like I can't do this anymore? Because I suppose when things are online, you kind of also get lazy.
Oh no, it was way easier online.
Really?
Oh yeah, having access to the lectures like recorded
Yeah.
was amazing, because you could like pause the lecture and be like, "What is this guy talking about?" And then you could
Hmm.
find the textbook, find the chapter, read up, catch up, and be like, "Okay, I think I understand what they're getting on about," and then go back to the lecture or like rewatch the lecture.
Did you ever do a 300 level class online?
No. So
Okay.
when I started doing 300 level classes was near the tail end of COVID, and my first 300 level class, they had 300 level classes in person and 200 and lower still online. So all 300s
Oh.
I've done were in person.
Okay, so then it's kind of like hybrid then, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then was your 300 level final exams in person?
Yep.
Oh, and then 200, 100s is
I think they were
online.
online, if I remember correctly.
Okay,
Yep.
that's fair. And then so far, what's your most favorite 300 level class?
Oh, it has to be 332.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
You get the most out of it.
that's fair. It
Yeah.
also depends how much dedication you put into it, plus what other classes you take with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. And then when you took 332, did you take any other computer science classes?
Yeah, I did 332, 360, and 381 all in the same semester.
Did you enjoy 360?
I
Because
I,
that
I
time
did. Yeah.
you didn't have Mondo,
No,
Professor Mondo.
I had
Because I
Professor
had,
Duchin for that one.
and you enjoyed the class?
Yeah,
Did you find it difficult?
incredibly.
And you enjoyed that challenge?
It was more so like what we were learning, less so enjoying the challenge. Like,
Okay.
it was difficult, um, but we learned a lot, and there was some really interesting puzzles like you kind of solved, right? Like the knapsack problem, and just
Mm-hmm.
dynamic programming can't be
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
overstated as being
Greedy
like,
algorithms.
yeah, those two.
I really enjoyed it because for me, I feel like 360 is, I don't think it's underrated because I do see people taking that class,
Mm-hmm.
but I just feel like it's very useful for anybody who's going to do it before their internship
Yeah.
because it just makes you understand what kind of interview questions you'll bump into.
Mm.
I know that like when you do your internship, obviously like some companies they don't go so much in depth of programming questions, but obviously if you're aiming for like the top-notch companies, you should probably know those programming
Yeah.
interview questions, which 360 lets you do. Okay, so then we've understood your online classes and things like that. So then when you went into your third year, is that when you got into internship for comp sci? Or is that complicated?
Let me try and think and remember.
Okay.
So I did my first year. That was all online. I did
Mhm.
my second year, and
Hmm.
then I did my internship, if I remember correctly.
So right after your second.
Yeah.
And then did you do 300 level classes before the internship?
Well, at the time, the requirement was that you had to have taken 370,
Mhm.
and you had to take three 300 level classes.
And you had that.
Barely, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but you had it basically. You had it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Asterisk. So
Okay.
when they say three 300 level classes, they mean just three 300 level
Hmm.
classes. But what the intention or the subtext is like in the degree, there is a set of 300 level classes. Like I think if you're doing the 4-year degree, there's 7 of them and you have to
Hmm.
take 6. And if you're
Hmm.
doing the honors degree, there's 6 and you have to take 5, right? So it's n minus 1 of the 300 levels.
Yeah.
So those are the ones that they're usually referring to when you have to take so many. And 370 is one of those classes.
Hmm.
So when I did my internship, I had 370, which was
Hmm.
the only one of those n minus 1 classes I had to take.
Okay.
I had 364, which
Okay.
is formal
Yeah.
languages and finite automata, which is a great class, fantastic class.
I love it. Great.
Yeah. Really good for helping you be a better programmer. Not really good for like understanding clever algorithms or like concepts with computers.
I think it helps if you took compilers after.
Yeah, probably.
Did you ever take that?
I audited it.
And you enjoyed it?
Oh yeah, compilers was great.
So if I took that class and I can come to you for questions?
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay. I can still bug you though.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whether
Yeah.
or not I can help, that's completely different.
Whatever. I don't care. As long as you can answer my theoretical questions, then
Yeah.
I'm fine. Okay.
And then the last 300 level class I had was 306, which was game design.
You did this all in your second year?
Yeah.
Dude, how? That doesn't make sense to me.
A
I'm
lot of
confused.
overrides.
Oh my god.
So I did my first year, which was mostly just like breadth requirements and like computers 145. And then in the spring and summer, I did 214 and 215.
Oh.
And then in the fall, I did like 270 and I think 370 and 364. And then I did 280, 306, and maybe my stats class, I think. And
You
then
really liked comp sci that much and you went so deep in your second year?
I don't recommend doing
Was
the
this
200s over
planned?
the summer.
But what? Yeah, I don't recommend to because I looked into their assignments.
It's just too fast paced.
It's
You
too
miss out on
rushed.
so much content.
But when you did all the things that you did you plan to do your internship by the end of your second year? Like, was this all thought out?
I knew I wanted to do an internship,
Oh, okay.
but it was just sort of like I could get to the opportunity, so I might as well try and take it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I had the worst skill set going into the internship program that I think a person could have.
No, I don't think you should say that. You literally had all your classes, so you can't be saying that.
I had all the 200 level classes, but like 300 level classes, if you had like 360 or 381 or 332, right? Like those classes teach you pretty massive components of computer science, right? General like deep cut algorithms, like complex ones, graphical user interfaces, how to make software that people can just sit down and understand how to use without having to read, pages of documentation or understanding. And then operating systems teaches you concurrency, memory management, how a computer actually works, all of those deep concepts. I had none of that.
But you had the teamwork classes. You had 370 and 306, which was, I think, important in a
Yeah,
company.
306 is probably the best class for teaching you how to like work in a team competently, and 364 will make you a better programmer generally. But like I didn't have the algorithms knowledge, I didn't have like the GUI knowledge from 381, and I definitely didn't have any operating systems knowledge of like concurrency and multi-threading or anything like that. So finding an internship was really difficult. I applied, I think it was 27 applications for internships.
You were that batch, right? Like you apply to internships, you have this one day with the open window, and then you kind of need to wait for notifications.
Yeah.
Like, can I ask what time did you hear back?
I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
Then?
So they had the first round, and then they had the second round, and I think they had a third round, and then it was done.
Okay.
And then the company that I did my internship for had a posting after that, and I applied for it. Yeah.
Okay. Did you enjoy your internship?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
I learned a lot.
Okay, I'll take your word. And then, so do you ever feel like if you've done 332, 360, and also 381
Mm-hmm.
before your internship,
Mm-hmm.
you would have been a programmer with a better mindset or better programming skills? Okay.
Yeah, so like
Okay.
how to approach problems, how to solve them, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would have had just more experience and more knowledge to draw on.
Were you
Yeah.
eyeing for a specific company when you were doing your internship, or you were like, I just hope I get an internship?
At the time, yeah, I didn't really know any of the companies that
Mm-hmm.
were there, right? It
Mm-hmm.
was kind of coming in blind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I knew I wanted to do an internship because that was one thing that really bit me hard with engineering.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like knowing what company I wanted to work for, it was just something that would give me some good experience, right?
So
So,
then, okay, I have two questions here. So you've done an internship after your second year,
yeah,
okay, for 12 months? 16.
16 months. Yeah,
16 months.
yeah.
Then after you've done your 16 months, in your third year, can you apply for the internship again, or you're kind of done? You're
You're
done.
done. So the
Okay.
internship is more like it's through the university. It shows up on your degree,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is that
Yeah.
you've
Yeah.
done the CSPIP internship program? Yep.
So then what's the point? Okay, tell me this. I really need an explanation. What's the point of doing it after your second year instead of your third year and taking things
Oh,
easy?
nothing. That was just bad planning on my part. Yeah,
Because
it's
I've
not
seen
the way
some
to do it.
people doing that, and
Yeah.
to me, I'm kind of like, what are you rushing things for? Like, no judgment to you.
No,
I'm just, in general, I'm just saying, like, what's the rush when you end up with the same thing? And you can do better in an internship after your third year when you have more 300 level classes.
I don't know.
Okay, I just thought there was an explanation
No.
for this. Okay, never mind.
Hubris? Straight up hubris, I guess.
Okay, maybe, I guess. So now that you've done your internship in
Mhm.
comp sci, do you see like a straight on benefit after you graduate? But
Not
this
really,
is
because I went straight
okay.
into grad school.
But if
So I
you were not
mean,
in the grad school, do you feel like your internship was to any benefit, as in like getting a job straight after graduation?
I think it usually is.
Okay.
Oftentimes, if you do really well at your internship, you'll get a like a return offer, right? So when you're done your degree, you can go work for them, or they'll have some sort of part time thing where you can like work there while doing your studies.
Mm-hmm.
Just so you're staying familiar with what's going on at the company and what your projects are. Um, but even so, like even if you don't get an offer to go back, just having practical experience of
Mm.
using those skills and working for some company for a period of time, right?
Because you get that competitive edge compared to everyone else who didn't do an internship.
Yeah, and you have someone in the industry that can vouch for your skills, right?
Mm.
Like, yeah, they showed up and did work. They contributed. They were helpful, right?
Mm-hmm. What are three things, whether it be like personal or programming skills, that you take away from your internship?
Soft skills
Mm-hmm.
always,
Yeah.
because being able to get along with your coworkers is of the utmost importance. Because it doesn't matter if you're the smartest person on the planet. If you're a dick, no one wants to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be the biggest thing. I'd say, and also just understanding how different ways of doing things and kind of just accepting that whoever's writing the bills makes the decision, right? Whoever writes the checks makes the final call. So you can tell somebody you shouldn't do it this way because it's a bad way of doing things for XYZ reason. And if they say, I hear you, I understand you, we're still going to do it this way, then you say, okay. And then you wholeheartedly do your best to contribute in that direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's a infinite number of ways of solving problems in computer science. Some of them are better than others. Some of them are going to be worse than others, and nothing's really directly comparable. Time versus memory.
Mm-hmm.
There's a trade-off either way. So,
I really like that. Time versus memory. There's a trade
mm-hmm.
off either way. Dude, I'm going to put this as a quote. This is so
It's the
cool.
video title. There you go.
Yeah. Dude, I really like this. This is so good. Do you read a lot of philosophical books?
No.
You're just philosophical naturally
Yeah.
with life, with maturity?
I guess.
Okay. So looking back at your like undergrad for comp sci, is there anything that you regret? Anything that you feel like maybe I could have done it differently?
214 and 215 in the spring and summer. I think I regret
Okay.
just because I was a TA for those classes after
Mm.
the fact. And it was almost like I was having to teach myself some of the things before I would try and teach the other students, right?
Yeah.
Like I did the classes and I did well, and then I did more advanced classes, so I had more than sufficient knowledge to sort of fill in all the gaps, and if needed to, I could wing it. But not getting the opportunity to learn all that stuff at the time, right? Because summer classes are usually like a speed run of the content where sure you'll get your grade and get out the other side, but you're going to be at a disadvantage moving forward for all subsequent classes because you
True.
don't have the same depth of knowledge.
True. I agree. But also on the other side, if you see you did your 214, 215 in summer spring, so you were
Mm-hmm.
efficient in kind of how you program. So that's like I think one thing you could take as a compliment. I guess you
I did
could.
do well. Yeah.
It's fine. As long as you try it, I think it's fine. Plus,
There
you
you
were a
go.
TA for those. You know, you
Yeah.
took more tougher classes, so you kind of filled the gap. So I don't
Yeah, and
see
being
a
a TA
problem.
was incredibly helpful for improving your understanding of things. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And then was being a TA always like something that came to you naturally, or was it something that you're like, a prof is asking me, might as well just do it?
I think I'm just naturally gifted to like
Okay.
teach people and be in front
Yeah,
of a
yeah,
crowd. I got
yeah.
a big voice and I'm not really too shy, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, and I like the sort of back and forth that happens when you're trying to teach somebody
Hmm.
and they don't quite understand the way that you phrase things. And
Hmm.
you have to take your knowledge and reevaluate it and frame it in a different way until you find a method that kind of clicks with that student, right?
Hmm.
And there's never like one way. Like, you can't have just this is the way that we present it and everybody's going to understand it because there's going to be people that just don't get it that way,
True.
right? And then it forces you to reevaluate and kind of reteach yourself from this new perspective.
Hmm.
So yeah, I really like being a TA. It's fun.
Hmm. Yeah, I know. You were really good,
Well,
especially
thanks.
for me. For 332, I really enjoyed having you for my labs.
I get that a lot. I was waiting for a bus downtown, and one guy walked up to me, and he's like, "You were my TA for 332." I'm like, "Yeah, man, how's it
Yes.
going?" He's like, "Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing an internship right now." I'm like, "Hey, right on." Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah.
Is he no, not is he, sorry. In your master's program, can you still be a TA at the same time?
You're required to be a TA.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I think oh, I don't think I knew that actually. Hmm.
Yeah. So with grad school, from my understanding, is you sign your contract, and then you're required to do so many number of hours of being a TA, or it's part of the contract. Like, it's part of how you get your funding. Like, you get paid
Oh,
to
okay,
be a
and it's
grad
part
student.
of your funding.
I believe so.
Okay.
I'm a little hazy on it. I kind of
Okay,
just
okay.
skimmed the contract and just signed at the bottom. See how that
Okay.
pans out.
Yeah, I guess because you were so like passionate to do your master's, I suppose.
Yes.
Is it for 2 years then?
No, because I did the accelerated
So
masters.
a year?
Yes. So I'll be
Ooh.
done next August is when I should be done.
I heard that from a lot of people. A lot of people do that, which I think is quite decent. Now we've understood your life. Thank you for sharing about your life. I think that was very interesting. But looking back at your life and looking at your degrees, is there something that you feel like, maybe I shouldn't have gone into comp sci, should have done something else?
Like when I
Mm-hmm.
first did engineering, I was thinking about computer engineering. It was one of the options I was weighing. Um, I mean, like, I got my degree, but it was really, really exhausting, right? Like 4 years for an engineering degree is an incredible amount of work,
Yeah.
and some people can do it in Excel. A friend of mine did his, uh, and he did it in 4 years, and I think his average was like high 90s, low 90s, somewhere around there. And like, my degree was also 4 years, but my average was like, man, he's close enough. So
Mm.
I mean, I don't think I would do anything differently.
Okay.
Yeah,
And you're content with everything that you've kind of done so far?
most of it, yeah.
Okay. So then, if you could, I don't know, looking back in 5 years from now, if you could describe yourself 5 years from now, how would you describe yourself?
5 years older.
Okay, but I mean more in professional and career wise.
No idea. We'll see what happens.
Okay, but do you hope to finish grad school by then?
Oh God, yeah. If I'm not done
Okay,
grad
yeah,
school in
yeah,
five
okay.
years, like that's
Yeah.
that's gonna be some serious problems,
Okay,
some
that's
funding issues for sure at the very least.
yeah, 5 years is a lot,
That's a
especially
lot.
when you plan to be done like 4 years earlier than that.
Yeah,
Okay. Do you plan to go into your PhD at some point?
maybe.
Okay. What's going to convert that maybe into a yes?
Whether or not I can find a place that I can get into,
Hmm. Okay.
because like the biggest thing with grad school isn't applying and getting in. They take in grad students all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is finding the funding, right? Grad
Hmm.
school you get paid to do, and
Hmm.
usually it's like you're contributing some research
Yeah, yeah.
towards some betterment of mankind kind of thing. But if you can't find the funding for it, right? Like you're either doing your PhD pro bono, which I don't know is really a thing, right? Because you still got to find a way to feed yourself, and you got to find a job, and then to
Fair.
do grad school on top of finding like full time work, like that's a lot of stuff on one plate. So
True. Yeah.
doable, sure, not by me though.
Yeah, and also like time management, mental
Yeah,
health. I don't think you're gonna have a good time. Like I
no,
don't think anybody would have a good time.
yeah, some people can do it, and all the power to them, but
Yeah, fair.
that ain't
Yeah.
me.
Okay, that's fair. So when you finished your fourth year,
Hmm.
what made you get into grad school? Apart from the fact that you've done your honors degree and you're like, sure, might as well go to grad school. But apart from that, what made you motivated to be like, I don't want to go into industry and I want to go to grad school?
I think it was that like being bitten from engineering, right? Like
Oh,
wanting
okay.
to do the structural design and analysis, but not having that master's degree.
Oh, right. Okay. So that kind of hit you, and I feel like a lot of the things you did in your comp sci, you've learned from your civil
Oh
engineering.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
like, I need to do an internship. I've got to do a master's.
yeah.
Do you plan to then go into industry work straight away, or do you kind of plan to be like a lecturer after? What do you plan to do? Or
I have
you're
no
not
idea.
sure?
I have
Okay.
no idea.
You're kind of like figuring things out.
Yeah, I
Okay.
wouldn't mind being a sessional lecturer, but I mean, I'm pretty sure industry pays a lot better.
Mm,
So
So, with that, everybody, we're just going to thank Tony for making time to be here in our podcast. I know that we've been yapping for quite some time on a Sunday morning, more like Sunday afternoon now, I think, but I don't know. Is it still morning?
still morning,
Okay, it's still
couple
morning,
minutes.
everybody. We'll trust Tony. We hope that you make some time to kind of go to those bookstores and enjoy and probably read books. We hope that you're a book lover. If
Hmm.
not, please just get a book. And with that, we're just going to end our podcast here. But before we end, if you have specific questions for Tony, feel free to mention it in the comment section below. And can I leave your Instagram/LinkedIn or no?
Yeah, go ahead and leave the comments on the YouTube video. I won't find them, but I might
I
read
will
them
probably,
someday.
yeah, I'll probably like text Tony if there is a specific question for him, I suppose. And I can co-reply, can help to co-reply too. And yeah, with that, we're just going to end today. Bye, everybody.